First contact folly. The enormous Viridian warship Indomitable glided silently through the darkness of space, its sleek, iridescent hull reflecting distant starlight as it approached the blue-green planet. Commander Xylex stood on the command deck, all six of his eyes fixed on the holographic display of Earth, a world that had become infamous throughout the galaxy. 17 prior expeditions, Xylex murmured, his voice a low rumble that carried across the command deck. 17 advanced civilizations sent their finest warriors and technologies to claim this backwater world. None returned. Science Officer Thera approached, her translucent skin pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that indicated anxiety. Commander, perhaps we should reconsider. The Galactic Council's records on Earth are quite clear. The Council's records are incomplete, Xylex interrupted, waving one of his four arms dismissively. They speak of failure but provide no explanation. How could primitives who have barely left their own moon defeat the Krull Imperium, or the Solvati Collective? Impossible. Thera's luminescence dimmed slightly. That is precisely why we should approach with caution. The unknown factor is what we're here to discover, Xylex finished. The High Command has equipped us with technology centuries beyond what these humans possess. Whatever strange luck or forgotten circumstances protected them before won't save them from the Viridian Dominion. On the bridge of the Indomitable, hundreds of Viridian officers monitored their stations, their segmented bodies perfectly still except for the constant motion of their manipulator appendages across holographic interfaces. The warship was the pride of the Dominion's fleet, nearly 2 kilometers in length, protected by quantum phase shields, and armed with particle cannons capable of reducing continents to ash. Begin preliminary scans, Xylex ordered. I want to know everything about their defensive capabilities before we announce our presence. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility unknown to most of humanity, Major Elena Rice stared at a monitoring screen with growing concern. Around her, the Command Center of Earth's Extraterrestrial Defense Initiative, EDI, hummed with activity as technicians and officers responded to the alert. Confirmed, Major, Lieutenant Park said from his station. The object entered our outer detection grid 17 minutes ago. It's massive, estimated 2 kilometers in length. Current position suggests it will achieve Earth orbit within 48 hours. Elena's expression remained composed, but her mind raced. This was what EDI had been created for after decades of classified alien encounters. The public remained unaware, believing stories of aliens to be conspiracy theories or science fiction. But Elena had seen the wreckage of previous attempted invasions. Alert all EDI bases globally, she ordered. Initiate Protocol Omega. And get me General Okonkwo immediately. As her team sprang into action, Elena studied the grainy image of the alien vessel. It was unlike any they had encountered before, more elegant and streamlined than the utilitarian craft of the bug-like Krull or the crystalline ships of the Solvati. New players, she murmured to herself. Same game. The secure line to General Okonkwo connected within seconds. The general's face appeared on screen, his expression grave. I've seen the data, Major, he said without preamble. Initial assessment. They're being cautious, sir. Previous incursions typically began with immediate aggressive action. This vessel is holding position and scanning. They're studying us. Which means they know about the previous failures, Okonkwo concluded. That makes them more dangerous. Elena nodded. We should activate the ARES units. Okonkwo was silent for a moment. The adaptive response exosuits represented humanity's most advanced integration of reverse-engineered alien technology. Only 12 existed, each requiring operators with rare genetic profiles that could interface with the neural links. Approved, he finally said. But keep them on standby. Let's see what our visitors do first. Aboard the Indomitable, Xylex reviewed the preliminary scan data with growing confusion. This can't be correct, he growled. Rerun the analysis. Scanning Officer Vex's appendages trembled slightly. I verified the results 3 times, Commander. The human's technology is precisely as our intelligence suggested. Primitive combustion engines, rudimentary digital systems, limited space capability. Then explain this, Xilex demanded, pointing at an anomalous reading. These energy signatures don't match anything in their public scientific records. Thera leaned closer to examine the data. Fascinating. The signatures appear to be hybrid, as if they've incorporated elements of different technological approaches. Xylex's mandibles clicked in agitation. Impossible. The only way they could have such technology is if they somehow salvaged it from previous expeditions. A silence fell over the command deck as the implications became clear. You mean they've defeated advanced species and then scavenged their technology? Vex asked, his voice barely audible. It would explain the discrepancies, Thera admitted, but it still doesn't explain how they managed to defeat those expeditions in the first place. Xylex's primary eyes narrowed. There's only one way to find out. Prepare a reconnaissance team. I want boots on the ground within 6 hours. Stealth protocols. We observe only. The Viridian scout ship descended through Earth's atmosphere under the cover of darkness, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to conventional radar. Inside, Lieutenant Kayla checked her equipment one final time. As communications specialist, her role was to observe and record, not to engage. The thought provided little comfort. Remember, this is reconnaissance only. Squad leader Drex reminded the team of 5 specialists. We gather intelligence on their defenses and return to the Indomitable. No contact with the natives. The scout ship touched down silently in a remote area of what the humans called Montana, a sparsely populated region chosen to minimize the risk of detection. As the team exited the vessel, Kayla felt the planet's heavier gravity immediately, her exoskeleton automatically compensating. Earth's night air was rich with unfamiliar scents, organic compounds, water vapor, and something else Kayla couldn't identify. The team activated their personal stealth fields, rendering them nearly invisible, and moved toward a small human settlement several kilometers away. Their communication networks are primitive but extensive, Kayla reported, monitoring the data streaming through her neural interface. Mostly entertainment and social interaction. Nothing to suggest they're aware of our presence. They reached the outskirts of the settlement, a small collection of structures surrounded by agricultural fields. Drex signaled for the team to spread out and observe. Kayla moved toward what appeared to be a communication center, a tall metal tower with broadcasting equipment. Her scanner recorded the frequencies and encryption methods, simplistic by Viridian standards. She was about to report back when her proximity alert triggered. She froze. Something was approaching, something her sensors couldn't properly identify. The readings fluctuated as if the subject was simultaneously technological and organic. All units, possible contact. She subvocalized into the team channel. Unknown signature approaching from the northeast. Fall back to extraction point, Drex ordered immediately. Maintain stealth protocols. Kayla began to retreat, but before she could move more than a few meters, a blinding light illuminated the area. Her stealth field flickered and failed, overloaded by some kind of electromagnetic pulse. Standing 20 meters away was a human figure, but unlike any in their intelligence files, the human was encased in an exoskeleton that seemed to be constructed from components that didn't belong together. Sections glowed with energy signatures reminiscent of crawl technology, while others appeared to incorporate Solvati crystalline structures. "We have contact," Drex shouted, abandoning the communication protocol. Defensive formation. The human spoke, the words translated instantly through Kayla's interface. "You might want to reconsider that." As if from nowhere, 5 more armored humans appeared, surrounding the Viridian team. Their weapons were an impossible hybrid of technologies, weapons that should not exist on a world at this development stage. Drex raised his particle disruptor. "Stand down, human. You face the Viridian Dominion." The lead human tilted their head slightly. "Never heard of you. But then again, we've met so many visitors lately, it's hard to keep track." What happened next occurred so quickly that Kayla's enhanced senses could barely follow. Drex fired his disruptor, a weapon that should have instantly vaporized the human. Instead, the energy beam was somehow absorbed by the human's armor, which glowed briefly before redirecting the energy back at the Viridian team. Two of Kayla's teammates fell immediately. Drex managed to activate his personal shield just in time, the energy splashing harmlessly around him. "Fall back," he ordered. "Return to the ship." Kayla and the remaining team member turned to retreat, but the humans moved with impossible speed. One moment they were meters away, the next they were directly in their path. The human armor seemed to adapt and enhance their natural abilities beyond anything that should be possible. "I'd really prefer if you stayed," the lead human said, voice calm despite the tension. "We have questions, and your predecessors weren't very talkative." Drex charged his disruptor to maximum, preparing for a final stand. "We will not be taken prisoner by primitives." The human sighed audibly. Why do they always choose the hard way? A projectile, a simple metal dart, struck Drex in his unprotected joint. He collapsed instantly, his nervous system overloaded. Kayla felt a similar dart pierce her exoskeleton, and darkness overtook her consciousness. Her last thought was a realization that chilled her to her core. The dart that took her down was tipped with a neurotoxin specific to Viridian biology, a toxin that no human should have known existed, let alone how to synthesize. Commander Xylex slammed his appendage against the command console, causing nearby officers to flinch. "No response from the reconnaissance team for 8 hours, he seethed. "And now we detect their scout ship ascending on autopilot." Thura approached cautiously. "Commander, the ship's data logs are transmitting. It appears to have been programmed to return automatically if the team failed to check in." "Show me," Xylex demanded. The holographic display activated, showing fragmented footage from the team's final moments. Xylex watched in stunned silence as his elite reconnaissance specialists were effortlessly neutralized by humans wearing technology that shouldn't exist. "Impossible," he whispered. "Those armor systems, they incorporate elements of at least 3 different galactic civilizations." "4," Thera corrected, pointing to a specific component. "That energy modulator is based on Nexari design principles." Xylex's mind raced. The implications were staggering. Somehow, this supposedly primitive species had not only defeated multiple advanced civilizations, but had also managed to understand, reverse engineer, and integrate their technologies. "Commander," Communications Officer Vex interrupted. "We're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface. They're requesting to speak with you." Xylex's mandibles clicked in surprise. "Put it through." The holographic display shifted to show a human female, her expression composed and professional. She wore no visible armor, but carried herself with unmistakable authority. "This is Major Alina Reyes of Earth's Extraterrestrial Defense Initiative," she stated without preamble. "Your reconnaissance team is in our custody. They are unharmed, but will remain so only if you withdraw from Earth space immediately." Xylex struggled to maintain his composure. "This is Commander Xylex of the Viridian Dominion warship Indomitable. You will return our personnel immediately, or face consequences beyond your comprehension." The human's expression didn't change. "Commander, you're the 18th different species to threaten Earth. None of the previous 17 exist anymore. At least not as spacefaring civilizations. I'm offering you a courtesy they didn't receive. A chance to leave." "You expect me to believe that a single planet of primitives destroyed 17 advanced civilizations?" Xylex scoffed. Major Reyes smiled slightly. "Not destroyed. Defeated. Those who survived return to tell a very specific story about Earth. I suggest you ask the Galactic Council for the complete records." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving Xylex staring at the empty display. "Prepare the main cannon," he ordered after a moment of silence. "Target their largest military installation. We will show these humans the difference between the Viridian Dominion and those who failed before us." As his crew rushed to comply, Thera stood motionless, her bioluminescence patterns shifting to display deep concern. "Commander," she said quietly, "what if they wanted us to attack? What if that's exactly how they defeated the others?" Xylex turned to her. All 6 of his eyes narrowed. "Are you suggesting this is a trap?" "I'm suggesting that there must be a reason 17 advanced civilizations failed where we expect to succeed. Perhaps we should consider." "We consider nothing except the glory of the Dominion," Xylex interrupted. "The main cannon will fire in 1 hour, and then we will see what makes humans so special." As the Indomitable positioned itself for the attack, neither Xylex nor his crew realized they were about to discover firsthand the shocking truth that no alien force had ever survived to report: why Earth remained unconquered in a galaxy full of predators. The human factor. The Indomitable's main cannon charged slowly, drawing enormous power from the ship's quantum core. On the command deck, Commander Xylex watched with satisfaction as the targeting systems locked onto a human military installation in a region designated Colorado on their maps. "Firing solution complete," Weapons Officer next reported. "The quantum phase cannon is at 70% charge. Estimated impact will vaporize everything within a 50-kilometer radius." "Excellent," Xylex replied. "The humans will learn that their previous victories were merely—" "Commander," Scanning Officer Vex interrupted, panic evident in his voice. "Multiple objects approaching from the planet's surface. Speed and trajectory suggest they're targeting weapons." Xylex turned sharply. "Impossible. Human spacecraft can't achieve orbital velocity that quickly." The tactical display updated to show dozens of small objects rising rapidly from various points across the planet's surface. They moved with impossible acceleration, defying the limitations of conventional propulsion systems. "Raise shields to maximum," Xylex ordered. "Continue charging the main cannon. These pathetic attacks will break against our defenses like waves against stone." The first wave of Earth projectiles reached the Indomitable within minutes. Xylex watched confidently as they approached the quantum phase shields, the most advanced defensive technology in the Viridian arsenal, capable of withstanding direct hits from other galactic powers. The projectiles detonated just before impact, releasing cascading pulses of energy that rippled across the shield barrier in patterns of blue and violet light. Alarms blared across the command deck. "Shield integrity at 87% and falling." A technician shouted. "The weapons are generating some kind of resonance effect." Xylex's confidence faltered. "Impossible. Our shield harmonics are randomized specifically to prevent resonance attacks." Science Officer Thera was already analyzing the data. "Commander, these aren't simple weapons. They're adaptive. The energy signatures are shifting in real time to match our shield frequencies." "How could primitives possibly—" Xylex began, but was interrupted by another barrage of alarms. "Second wave incoming," Vex announced. "These are larger. And they're emitting Solvati energy signatures." Xylex felt a chill run through his segmented body. The Solvati had been among the most technologically advanced species in the galactic community before their sudden decline a decade ago, following an attempted invasion of Earth. The second wave hit with devastating precision. Where the first barrage had tested the shields, these weapons exploited the weaknesses discovered. The Indomitable shuddered violently as shield sections began to fail. "Divert power from the main cannon to shields," Xylex ordered. "Launch interceptors." As Viridian fighter craft poured from the Indomitable's launch bays, the tactical situation deteriorated further. Earth's surface now bristled with launch facilities that had somehow remained hidden from their initial scans. More importantly, human aircraft were rising to meet the Viridian fighters. Aircraft that should not have been able to operate in the upper atmosphere, much less space. "Commander, we have visual on the human interceptors," Vex reported, his voice barely steady. "You need to see this." The main display shifted to show the approaching Earth fighters. They were a technological impossibility, cobbled together from what appeared to be multiple design philosophies and materials. Some sections clearly incorporated crawl engineering, while others displayed the organic curves favored by the Nexari. Most disturbing of all, several appeared to utilize propulsion systems identical to Viridian technology. They've taken technology from every species that attacked them, Thera whispered, and combined it all. On the command channel, desperate reports flooded in from the Viridian fighter pilots. Their weapons are adapting to our evasive patterns. My controls aren't responding. They've somehow overridden our systems. They're inside our combat data link. They know our formations before we execute them. Within minutes, half the Viridian fighter squadron had been destroyed or disabled. The remainder retreated to the dwindling safety of the Indomitable's failing shields. Main cannon at 95%, Nex reported, a note of hope in his voice. If we can fire now, we might still. Another violent impact rocked the ship, throwing crew members from their stations. Emergency lighting flickered on as primary systems failed. Direct hit to the quantum core housing, a technician reported. Power fluctuations throughout the ship. The cannon is destabilizing. Xylex stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The humans had somehow identified the Indomitable's critical systems despite the ship's unique design. It was as if they had fought Viridian warships before. Commander, Communications Officer Vex said, "We're receiving a transmission from the surface again. Same human as before." "Put it through," Xylex ordered, his voice hollow. Major Alina Reyes appeared on screen, still maintaining her composed demeanor despite the battle raging around her. Behind her, Xylex could see humans' operating consoles displaying Viridian tactical data that should have been impossible for them to access. "Commander Xylex," she said calmly, "your ship has approximately 17 minutes before the quantum core destabilization reaches critical levels. I suggest you order your crew to evacuation pods." Xylex's mandibles clicked in fury. "You primitives have no idea what you're dealing with. Even if you destroy the Indomitable, the Viridian Dominion will send 100 ships to replace it." For the first time, the humans' composure slipped, revealing something like pity. "No, they won't, because you're going to tell them the truth about Earth. The same truth the Crawl learned, and the Solvedi, and all the others." "What truth?" Xylex demanded. "That humanity's greatest weapon isn't technology at all," Alina explained. "It's adaptation. Every species that attacks us makes us stronger. We take your weapons, your shields, your propulsion systems. We study them, understand them, and improve them. Each invasion is just another opportunity for us to advance." As if to emphasize her point, the display split to show footage from the Indomitable's own security systems, footage of human special forces boarding the ship through the damaged sections. They moved with purpose, neutralizing Viridian crew members with weapons clearly derived from Viridian design. "This is impossible," Xylex whispered. "You're just primitives. Primitives who have survived in one of the harshest evolutionary environments in the galaxy," Alina countered. "While most spacefaring species evolved in controlled, stable environments, humans developed on a planet with extreme climate variations, diverse predators, and constantly changing threats. Adaptation isn't just our strategy. It's written into our DNA." Another explosion rocked the ship. Warning klaxons blared as systems failed across all decks. "Quantum core approaching critical," a technician shouted. "Containment failure imminent." "You have 15 minutes to evacuate," Alina said. "We've transmitted safe coordinates for your escape pods to land. Your crew will be treated well and eventually return to Viridian space with a message. Earth is off limits." The transmission ended, leaving Xylex staring at the empty display. Around him, the command deck had descended into barely controlled chaos as officers attempted to manage the cascading systems failures. "Commander," Thera urged, "we must evacuate. The ship cannot be saved." Xylex remained frozen, his mind struggling to process the implications of what he had witnessed. He had come seeking the secret of Earth's defense, and he had found it, not in some superweapon or cosmic anomaly, but in the humans themselves. "Send the evacuation order," He finally said, his voice quiet. All crew to escape pods. As the Indomitable's crew abandoned ship, a single Viridian scout craft departed unnoticed from a secondary hangar. Aboard was Lieutenant Kayla, the communications specialist who had been captured during the initial reconnaissance mission and subsequently escaped from human custody, or more accurately, had been allowed to escape. She sat in the pilot's seat, still processing what she had learned during her captivity. The humans had treated her well, answering her questions with surprising candor. Most importantly, they had shown her evidence of what happened to civilizations that continued to pursue conflict with Earth: technological regression, cultural collapse, and eventually, extinction. Not because humans sought to destroy them, but because the technological edge that defined their societies was inevitably lost to human adaptation. As she plotted a course back to Viridian space, Kayla activated a special communication protocol, one that would bypass the military chain of command and reach the Viridian Scientific Academy directly. They needed to know the truth about Earth before the military could launch another doomed invasion. Her message was simple but would change the course of galactic history. Humans don't win because they're stronger or more advanced. They win because they learn. Every attack makes them more powerful. The only way to deal with humans is not to fight them at all. 3 months later, Commander Xylex stood before the Viridian High Council, completing his testimony about the Earth mission. His once prestigious career was in ruins, but he had insisted on delivering his report personally. The humans have extended an invitation for diplomatic relations, he concluded. They express interest in peaceful cultural exchange and limited technology sharing. Limited technology sharing, hissed High Counselor Velen. After they destroy our flagship? Yes, Xylex replied firmly. Because they understand something that we did not. True advancement comes from innovation, not conquest. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Finally, another counselor spoke up. And what would you recommend, Commander? Xylex met the counselor's gaze steadily. Accept their offer. Learn from them before they learn from someone else. Because the humans have revealed the greatest secret in the galaxy. Warfare is inefficient. The species that adapts fastest dominates, and humans adapt faster than any species we have ever encountered. As the council debated on Earth, Major Elena Reyes stood in the newly constructed Galactic Relations Center, watching as technology recovered from the Indomitable was studied and integrated into Earth's defense systems. Beside her, General Okonkwo surveyed the activity with satisfaction. Do you think they'll accept our diplomatic offer? Elena asked. They'd be fools not to, Okonkwo replied. But if they decline? He gestured to the salvaged Viridian technology being analyzed. Elena nodded in understanding. Either way, humanity would continue to adapt and grow stronger. It wasn't their technology that made humans dangerous to the galaxy. It was their uniquely human capacity to take the unknown and make it their own. That was the shocking reason no alien force survived attacking Earth. They didn't just lose a battle. They inadvertently armed their opponents with the tools to surpass them.